Okay. Hopefully, this will turn out to be my first freaking full blown thing. But today, we're gonna look at an alternate future of the world. I know, I'm so good. I'm definitely not copying anybody. Um, man, where will we start? Man, I just don't know where we would start with this thing. I gotta color all of this. Maybe I will edit this video. Who knows? Okay, I'm not gonna care about the rest of these islands. I'm gonna care about this though. Okay. Okay. Let me figure out my brush size. I'll do it's 5 too big. Okay. Um, goodness, I don't remember how much Russia has, but I think it's something like that. And I think they have an excursion here. And I think they have another one over here. We're just gonna say this, all right? It's alternative future anyway. Well, let's just think differently, and it's gonna look like this. So, NATO suddenly starts to realize that this is gonna turn out and drag on for years if something major doesn't happen. So, we have direct support from pretty much every NATO member and almost every NATO partner. I don't remember my NATO partners. I don't know if it's on this alliance. The NATO one, no, because Azerbaijan and Bosnia and stuff like that are not there. But some do get involved. Let's say probably like Kosovo, Bosnia, maybe Azerbaijan, probably Azerbaijan. But every NATO member starts flooding Ukraine. I'm not going to worry about the Iran war yet. Let's just say that it stops and drags on over the periods of time of the Ukraine war, and then it'll turn out into a full-blown war later. We'll say that. But with direct supply trains coming through all the way over here, we have Russian troops lining up in this area. And now, in this case, Ukraine, a large strip of Ukrainians, which was going to attack these guys over here, grabbed it. But a bunch of artillery hit this troop and a lot of Poland NATO troops. Now, will I say that this invokes Article 5? May or may not. But, Poland gets directly involved. Yeah. And NATO's like, Poland, wait! And Poland's like, I'm done with this guy. These guys gotta go. And so NATO has an emergency meeting about Article 5. And they're like, okay, countries that want to directly join the war, you can, but it will not invoke Article 5, but we will supply you. And so the following countries that do end up joining on NATO's side includes Poland, Czechia, Who else would probably join? I'm gonna say Moldova and Romania. And then the Baltics. Other countries that did want to get involved but held a referendum that said no include Finland, Sweden, Turkey, and probably Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia, honestly. But they do have a chance to join the war if anything does end up happening. Whoa, Germany, you're not joining. With this, Belarus joins along with Armenia. And then because of this causes Azerbaijan and Georgia to join, along with these separatist groups. This is an Eastern European regional conflict now. It is no longer a country versus country. It is a coalition. And so the blue side has officially established partnership, along with partnership of NATO, the Eastern Coalition, the Eastern Coalition, which has direct involvement, direct involvement members and support members. So direct involvement members include every country that's blue on this map right now. Support includes Turkey, Kosovo, Albania, probably, Bosnia too, Austria, Hungary, Italy, Germany, Benelux, the UK, pretty much every other NATO country. And so Russia's like, okay, you guys want to have war? Let's have war. And so we are going to see Russia fully mobilizing, but we're going to focus in Ukraine for a little bit. Russian troops start taking over small portions over here, trying to meet up with this part. This part extends here, along with this part, along with Belarus joint areas. And Belarusian troops in this area captured this. But, we're going to see some crazy movement. Joint by not only Romania and Moldova, but also support from Turkey. It's disguised Turkish volunteers. Not only invade Crimea through here, but navally through here, here, and here. And even a little bit over here. Yeah, it's not great. Oh yeah, Kaliningrad? Steamrolled. No more Kaliningrad. While Russia is mobilizing their troop over here, a lot of so Lithuania and Poland make a joint operation in this area. I don't know if this is like a province or region of Belarus. I don't know. But this north, it's kind of southwestern area. But eventually Latvian troops, and they meet up in the northern areas. Belarus. While Estonia, the Baltics, so I'm going to say this. These eastern nations are mostly supported by these guys over here and some western nations, while the Baltics are mostly supported by these guys over here. But we do see another referendum held in Finland deciding if they want to join. And it is a yes. So the Finnish are preparing. So we'll see those guys later. But we see Estonian with a lot of Nordic support, along with Latvians steamrolling, not steamrolling, but kind of slowly, definitely destroying a lot of Russian troops. So this is how the borders look right now. We have a huge eastern front line, and we have this over here. Now, with Poland being pretty much fully involved, well, this is taken out, this is taken out, and this is very heavily pushed back. Of course, this is mostly Russian, so they don't all the way fall. But more recent Russian captured occupied territory include this, a lot of this, and a spearhead towards the Donbass, or more of the far eastern Donbass, like this. But we have a large area of Ukrainian troops taking back this and meeting up with the Russian border. So now Russia is worried because now they're getting beat by some of the weakest nations, not only the world, but in Europe. Which, by weakest nations in Europe, I mean Ukraine, Romania, Moldova. I guess Czechia and the Baltics. The Balkans are kind of weak. The only non-weak nation that's on the blue that's here is Poland. Poland is pretty strong. Anyways, a joint operation is set up here. And Belarus says they might opt out to leave the war. And Russia's like, no, don't do that. But they're really heavily deciding on it. So Russia says, okay, so if you do, I'm going to annex you, and you're never going to be independent again. That's what they say. Hold on, am I recording? Okay, it's been 12 minutes. So yeah. So they don't surrender. But we do see this. Yeah. Minsk is obliterated. Eviscerated, actually. Oh, yeah, and like Stalingrad? Yeah. Oh, and there was an Estonian naval landing? Oh. Okay. Good job. And this front is opened up way more to the point. Maybe I'm glazing the blue team a little too much here. Probably am. But yeah, they basically take all that. Crimea is completely occupied. And the Caucasus, with many support from a lot of Middle Eastern nations like Egypt, Jordan, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey especially, they're able to, Georgia is able to steamroll their separatist groups and take them back. With the Azerbaijanis quickly, where is Armenia's capital? Right there. Okay. So, as you can imagine, the Armenians are not doing too hot. And their capital is encircled and they surrender. So with that, a lot of the Georgian troops pull from here, immobilize on the mountain range, and start to slowly push through. Now, yes, there's probably a high a good amount of Russian troops here. Um, it's definitely possible because of this naval landing over here that they would be diverted, so the Caucasus nations would be able to probably get on the outer edges of the mountain range, which is what they do. They take this entire area, but other areas are met with more resistance, like here, and over here in western Georgia. But they do get a good bit in, and they get pretty far. Eventually, their ultimate goal is to unify this front, gain more land, meet up with these guys so that they can take what I like to call the boot of Russia. Or the leg of Russia. It honestly kind of looks like Russia is stomping on the Caucasus Mountain Range. And I just kind of glorified Russia there, but sorry man, that's what it looks like. And I mean, that did kind of happen in like the 50s, 60s. So, oh yeah. So Belarus is gone, and a way bigger front just opened up. I like to clown on Russian technology because me personally, Russian technology. I mean, sure they have the Su-35, but that's like their only good piece of tech. Yeah. But finally, we do have Finland joining the war effort because of the stalemate over here. And then steam rolling, I forgot what it's called. It starts with K. The Kurliks, I think? Steamrolling the Kurlik region, or, well, the native region of the Kurliks. So, this is what I'm gonna do. And this is basically what happens. So, yeah. Russia is just like, wow, we were completely unprepared for something like this. Well, they're mobilized there in the military. They're scrambling. And something else happens. Turkey officially joins the war. So they have joined the East European coalition. You know, along with their Northern Cyprus thing. Oh yeah, Israel did too. Along with Austria and Hungary, Slovakia, Germany, Denmark. I don't think Denmark is NATO aligned, or are they in NATO? I actually don't remember. Okay, yes, they are. Oops. But, yeah. Denmark and Germany join. Honestly, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that Britain also joins. So, yeah. The Eastern European Coalition is now renamed to the Russian coalition. And yeah. So yup. Uh yeah, so they just surrender. Whoa. Oh, oops. Yes. Oh my goodness, Brown. Okay. Alright. So let's draw no. Okay. So now let's draw up this peace treaty. Let's see how this goes. Yup. So, yeah, Ukraine's gonna get all this. Turkey will. Oh, yeah. Ukraine will also get this, while Turkey will occupy this. Azerbaijan will get all the way to here. Okay. Then we'll have Kaliningrad being owned by Poland. Lithuania will be getting a little bit of land out of this. Okay, Latvia and Estonia. So we're gonna have Estonia get this, and Estonia's gonna get an expansion of their panhandle, basically, along a small bit of territory here. Finland didn't really get to do much, but they will get from here to there will be Finland's land. Is that everybody? Yes. Okay, I haven't think of the borders yet, but this is sort of what the peace treaty's gonna look like. First off, we're gonna start with Ukraine. Ukraine will not only receive a lot of this. I'm actually gonna give Ukraine up to that. Yeah. So so Ukraine's gonna get all of this, including Crimea, and this little bit right here of a port. Speaking of ports, Turkey, for their very good support in the war, will receive this port. Um, Georgia and Azerbaijan will both be fully integrated into NATO and as NATO members. So Azerbaijan will get southern Armenia, have their exclave, and get a lot of this, whilst Georgia will get northern Armenia and a lot of this. Belarus will have a new government set in place that is, more Western. They will keep mixed, but Poland will get this, Lithuania will expand, and Ukraine will as well. Oh yeah, I forgot to do this. So Estonia will be getting this and an expansion to their panhandle. Now, the country to probably get the most land by area is definitely Finland. Mainly just for the reason because, honestly, in my opinion, I'm pretty sure this used to be Finnish, like natively like Finnish. So they're gonna get all the way. They're gonna get Stalingrad and up to here. They're gonna get pretty much all of the whatever the Kalingans, whatever they're called. Basically, you're gonna get that. So let's go and erase this border. It's been a while already, hasn't it? And we already just have one war. There's a pretty big war, but still. But yeah, Finland is a lot bigger now. So yeah, that's what the treaty's gonna look like. Um Next. Not the Iran war. It's still a back and forth. It's still a pretty fairly regional conflict. We're gonna have Taliban expansion. So Taliban, owns Afghanistan, but we'll see. I think this is Tajikistan. Yeah. So they'll begin invading Tajikistan. Now, probably a lot of countries wouldn't be very fond of this. For example, India definitely wouldn't be, and I know for sure Pakistan or Iran definitely wouldn't be. Even China and Russia probably. But Pakistan will be the only country to aid Tajikistan heavily, along with a little bit from Iran, China, and India. But for now, we will have the invasion of Tajikistan. Taliban troops will begin to instantly spearhead. I need my capitals. I need to know. Okay. The Taliban will begin to spearhead to split the country in two, but will be met with a lot of resistance because of support. And also, I'm pretty sure this area is mountainous, or it's also just desert, so it would be pretty hard to invade it. And the Taliban now have more so the military, so they're a lot more organized now. But they still have, like, small terrorist legions inside Afghanistan, but if they do invade, they'll obviously incorporate that into Tajikistan, which I don't think they're going to win. But they'll take this and start an invasion from the Afghani panhandle. But because of direct Pakistan support of supplies and hidden Pakistan volunteers, Tajikistan will be able to take a lot of the panhandle, including a small portion here. Now, as a bunch of other nations get news of this, the other stands get involved, such as Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan. Yes. Turkmenistan. What are all the stands? We have Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, and you also have Kurdistan, right? I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. But whatever. Kurdi. This guy over here, I forgot. But yeah. But we will see the Taliban almost being able to meet up with their Met with resistance over here. But now that Tajikistan has more direct support from many other militaries, we are going to have Turkmenistan being able to invade and cut off most supply lines from here. And also a lot of the stands now have weakened Russian support. So, yeah. All these guys have, like, full Russian support. And the U.S. also... I would say the U.S., Canada, Britain, France, Germany, and Germany begin to also support the stands here. For Turkmenistan, with a bunch of Russian support, is able to push deep into Afghanistan. With Tajikistan now being able to push out most of the Afghan forces. Of course, there's still a little bit left. But they will be able to actually take a lot back since the start of the war. They'll take this panhandle, and they'll completely take this. Now, this is where the Taliban starts being organized and goes back to their normal ways of fighting. But everybody's used to the tricks now, so it doesn't really work. And this entire northern area becomes one front. Is able to take this. Wow. Along with Taliban finally being fully kicked out of Tajikistan. So now the Taliban are kind of in a bad place. Because a lot of their major front lines up here wiped out. Of course, they have a lot, like, between here, but that has to be mobilized. And Pakistani troops are constantly fighting with and shooting and firing upon Taliban soldiers on their border. and striking their camps on their border so they can't. And with this now happening, Pakistan becomes directly involved and begins their invasion to liberate Afghanistan. So, yeah. With this, Pakistan forces Russian, and I mean completely rush, and are able to swiftly get towards Kabul and take this with Russian Stani forces also meeting. So now the Taliban are in a bad place. Not only that, but many Afghan nationalist insurgencies begin to take form all across the country. Along with a very small one, albeit, but one very close to Kabul. They have two fronts. So, the blue team and the Afghan nationalists make a deal where they will completely wipe out the Taliban and have, I forgot, Uzbekistan. So yeah, we'll get Uzbekistan involved because they're part of this agreement. Surrounding nations of Afghanistan, this includes China. All countries that border or in a near vicinity will mainly border. So, that border Afghanistan must be prepared to take on any fleeing Taliban troops, and that deal is signed. Some try to flee into Iran, but Iran would actually probably house them. But because Iran is probably actually trying to increase their relationships with the world, they would do it. And so, we have two fronts of the nationalists meeting up and also meeting up with the Russian Stanis and taking the southern region and meeting up with Pakistani troops. Now the rest of them face a lot of guerrilla warfare over here, and these guys do a big circle. But they do spearhead over here, which they complete, but they're thinned out. And Kabul is captured by Afghani nationalists. And the Taliban don't surrender, but they consider the country pretty much mainly occupied. Let's say another few months goes by, and the Taliban are encircled in one place near Kabul and are taken down, and the Taliban is officially destroyed. Boom, shaka, laka. So, the Afghan nationalist has been restored into Afghanistan. Afghanistan is now old Afghanistan before Taliban take over. And now, these countries make a new alliance. There's a lot of layers. And this alliance will be the anti-terror organization, or ATO. So, we're going to get started on this. I'm going to color them this very, very fine lavender, and it will be made up of many countries. Its main members, including What? How do people do freaking Uh, they would have to do it like this on me. Okay. So it's gonna take me a minute. I'll do this to whenever I record the next episode. I'm not doing all that right now. But just know that the main members are Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Russia, India, China, the US, Canada, and Britain. So yeah. Now we're gonna have our next major war. Yes, I'm keeping capitals. I need them. Where should our next major war be? What else is happening in the world? Oh yeah, the Syrian Civil War! Bro, I forgot all about this. I don't know which groups are which, and this is an alt history, so this is what we're gonna do. Let's say that the Civil War, each side on the Civil War signs an agreement for a while where they will stop fighting and they'll collectively try to reorganize the country. Eventually, this does not work. And it causes this, I think it's the third Syrian Civil War. So we are going to have UN and US-backed democratic forces up here in the north. We're gonna have more extremist Islamic government over here south of Damascus. Oh yeah, this is also Kurdistan technically, so we'll actually make this Kurdistan, and the UN backed Democrats will be over here. So we're gonna start with the Kurdistans. The Kurdistans will completely, quickly, swiftly take over this area of Syria while starting to mobilize on the Iraqi and Turkish borders as they start helping out other Kurdish revolts in this general area. So here, democratic forces make an agreement with the Kurdistanis that after the civil war, they will crush the Islamic extremists, back out, let the Kurdistans have the land that they want, and reform the Syrian government into a new democratic one. Fully democratic. Fully. So, we are going to have them reaching to the south to take them, because they don't need to worry about these guys. They can have as much land up here as they want. But these guys are mobilizing to rush for Damascus, but they will not do it as Damascus is swiftly captured by U.S. forces. Eventually, these guys get really angry and start to try to surround, but not attack. So just surround for now and expand. Now the main Syrian government, disabled. Completely disabled. No military, no government or anything. The reason why, now there is some pro-Syrian ones, but most of the Syrian military has gone rogue and joined at least one of these three sides. Most of them has went to the democratic forces. I would say the Kurdish people up here went to this one, and we're just going to say Islamic extremists live here, most likely funded by Iran and Saudi Arabia. But yeah, they will expand But the U.S. forces catch up and take their headquarters and begin to envelop them very quickly, and they surrender. So, now, they don't surrender yet, because the peace treaty hasn't happened yet. Guerrilla warfare happens. But these guys do surrender. Most of them. We have Kurdish forces getting what they want in Syria. And we have the full-on last remnants of the government completely collapsing. Okay. So, let's drop this peace treaty. There's the peace treaty. It would now be split between a new U.S. reformed democratic Syria and Kurdish people. And with that, we have the Kurdish people mobilizing on the Iraqi border. And we have the first, what we're going to call the first Kurdish takeover. Or like the first like Kurdish liberation war, I guess you could say. Now, I would say Iraq would probably win. I don't know how strong Iraq is really, but these Kurdish people are most definitely backed by the U.S. Now, Turkey is actually says, well, okay, you can have a little bit, not a lot, but you can have a little bit. So we're going to have a future area set up. And this is the land that the Kurds will receive after their war in Iraq. They will receive this after the war. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is paint it this. But they're rushing, to... I won't color anything, I'll just have a border. We'll have Kurdish troops pushing into Iraq. And we have some that do travel through this occupied area and end up making a new front over here. Now with this, Iran already knows what's going to happen to them, so they joined the war. And so does Turkey. And the new democratic Syria. Okay, we're back. So yeah, we have Iran joining, the democratic Syria, Turkey joining. So yeah, it's a 3v2. Kind of an unfair one. So, Kurdistan forces and some Syrian forces both jointly make a new front and open up one up in here. Well, I know this first episode is going to be pretty long, but yeah. We'll probably have two more major things to happen. So, but with Iran scrambling to mobilize in the northern areas, we do have Kurdish troops and even Turkish troops marching through this area and meeting up with Kurdish troops to overtake this lake and take this and this. I think this area is pretty mountainous, but they do take it rather quickly, but they are slowed down as they slowly start meeting Iranian resistance over in here. But most of northern Iraq, which of what Kurdistan wanted, is taken. So now the Kurdistanis start playing defense on what they have, while the new Syrian government continues to take what they want, because they want to expand, because of what the U.S. told them. And with that, yeah. Iraq surrendered. Oh, that's not my full tool. Iraq surrenders. And Iraq is like, okay, just you can use my land. Don't take any more of my land, please. So, because of that, Syrian troops and Kurdish troops from here begin taking. So, the goal for the Kurdistans is to get what they want from Iran and Iraq, take what they need, and have, this Turkish area. What the Syrians want to do is to at least have a sizable enough area of Iran here by Iraq to establish a more Persian-style government. But yeah, they meet up, and they finally face their resistance from Iranian troops here. So, the U.S. sends direct volunteers, and after a lot of bloody mountain and desert battles, the tide of the war is changed, with U.S. troops finally arriving to the front line, and other, like Abrams, helicopters, planes. We will see one major thing. B-2s, A-10 Warthogs, and probably Nighthawks too, or Apaches, or Chinooks, will raid not only Tehran, but other major cities and its nuclear power plants, completely wiping the floor with the cities. And this allows a large portion of northern Iran being not encircled, but taken over really quickly. I would say the part that would be encircled would be this part, but it's taken over really quickly. And the Syrians, crossing even more of the border, take what they need, take more what they need, and they're able to quickly take this. And this leads to the peace treaty of the war. Okay, so we're gonna start with Kurdistan. So Kurdistan will not only gain its Turkish lands, but its Iraqi and Iranian territories. Syria, the new pro-Syrian government, will take from here to here. So, here we have it. Here is the peace treaty. Yes. Starting with the Republic of Syria. The Republic of Syria has taken everything pretty much west of, I think, the Tigris River, or well, this part of it. I don't know if this is separate. I think it is separate. I think these are just lakes, but basically, towards the Tigris, and the Republic of Arabia, the Republic of North Arabia is established. So now, the goal is to basically form a new age sort of republic Arabia, which will include Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel, and hopefully, Israel takes over Palestine, but it'll form a greater, like a Republic Arabia. Of course, most of the Arabian countries do figure this out and aren't very fond of it, but it's not like they can do a lot about it because it's the U.S. But speaking more of this, the Israels will have their respective autonomous area, which goes from not only modern Israel, but leans into probably more so of something like that a little bit. I think the Israel province will probably just be included a little bit of Jordan down here, a little bit of Syria, well, the province, and all of Lebanon, and a little bit of Syria, and a little bit of this area. So, yeah. I'll draw it eventually. But, yeah. I don't believe I talked about Kurdistan. Kurdistan is now the Republic of, Republic of Kurdistan. And it is very big and also pretty strong. Is this an open border? Kinda is. But yeah. Basically, lastly, we have New Persia. So, basically what was left of Iraq definitely couldn't support itself. So they just opted, let's just merge the two together. So they reformed basically Persia, and it is the first ever U.S. set monarchy, because that's how, I guess that's how the people probably want it. Kuwait, I don't know why Kuwait would, but let's just say Kuwait shows interest in unifying with it, along with some sections of Saudi Arabia near Kuwait, and of course, all of Iran. The Iranian people, the rest of the Iranian people want to merge with it. So, yeah. Next major thing is not going to be the last one, but we will have the last Israel versus Pakistani war. Which will include Israel versus basically another like Israel coalition situation. So it's going to be Israel versus Palestine, Lebanon, and Lebanon. But Israel is directly backed by the Republic of North Arabia, and especially like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, and probably Iran too, get a little angry about this. Now, while this isn't directly controlled by the U.S., it's influenced and is basically invited into direct meetings in Washington. Oh, Washington. I'm sorry. So yeah. Obviously, they have this. Obviously, Palestine has Gaza, but let's just say Gaza gets quickly taken over, and I understand why a lot of YouTubers don't really want to delve into situations like these, because one, it might get your video taken down, and two, you could get a lot of backlash. Look, this is an alternative history, and I'm trying to be somewhat realistic. Realistically, realistically, Israel would most definitely win this war no matter what. Why? Why? Because not only is Israel directly backed by basically an American puppet state with a lot of American equipment already set in it surrounding the red team, Israel already has a bunch of American equipment that it can use to completely destroy this little section, which it easily could and will. This is an alternative history. I'm gonna warn Israel, Palestine people, because I'm making basically Israel, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. This is an alternate history, or alternate future. This is not real. This may not actually happen in the way I consider it to happen. And plus, realistically speaking, again, this is the most likely scenario in my opinion. Without touching into a more larger regional conflict. Once again, the reason why I think a lot of these Arabian nations, apart from Iran, wouldn't get directly involved is because there is literally an American puppet state directly backed by not only NATO, but America itself. So if they attack it, they're gonna get backlash from a lot of NATO countries, and Article 5 will most likely be invoked. Because these are Americans. While it's not America, it is basically American, so it most likely would invoke Article 5. But it's not a NATO it's not a NATO country yet. It's being registered to. But it probably already would because it's Americans, okay? With that out of the way, that little disclaimer, I'm serious about that disclaimer. If I get hate comments from people who instantly saw this and didn't hear me out, like, just get out of here. I don't care. If you're gonna hate why you think Palestine should win, okay, cool. Share your opinion. Don't do it hatefully. Give me some good reasoning and research to back that up. I haven't done a lot of research on how strong Palestine, Israel, Lebanon, or how a Syria, Iraq controlled America would be. Well, it's American equipment, so I know pretty darn well that they're going to probably do really good. Okay. Let's get into this. After this, we have one more thing to get through. This isn't an official series yet. If it's popular, I'll do it. I'll probably post a thing on my TikTok, because I know TikTok. I don't know what it is. So, not very quickly, but definitely pretty swiftly, we have Israeli troops moving into Palestine, and a siege is set up around the capital. Lebanon's gone. A siege is held out here for a while, probably for a couple of months, but eventually American aid does arrive, and it is taken over. Alright. With that, let's look at this peace treaty. Okay. This is the peace treaty. So, basically, the province, as of now, a part of, North Arabia, the Republic of North Arabia, it would basically be probably something like this. And this place is completely reserved for not only Jews. I probably should have reiterated that earlier, or reiterated that earlier. Not only Jews, but also Palestinians. Palestinians can live here freely. That's okay. That's how exactly it would be in real life. Look, I'm not gonna say we definitely haven't persecuted natives in the past. Manifest Destiny. But modern day, we're not going to. They're not gonna. Now, maybe they're gonna see. Now, maybe the two are gonna receive discrimination between each other, but that unrest would be fixed. Most likely. They would have to learn to coexist. Look, what both sides have to learn is, look, I understand you have two differentiating religions, and you both hate each other because of it. To the people directly, I know probably a lot of Jews and a lot of Palestinians. Not a lot of Palestinians. Probably a lot of Palestinians actually do want the war. I think. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of Palestinians or pro-Palestinian people. Anyways, what was I gonna say? I don't remember. Bro, it's a freaking scenario. Don't take it with a grain of salt. And plus, I'm not the smartest person, especially not in the Middle East. I'm not educated in the Middle East. I'm very uneducated, which is why I told you people to inform me in the comment section that exists. Don't just hate on me. Hate on me with purpose. Don't just blatantly hate on me. Hate on me with purpose. Hate on me with reasoning. That is what I want you people to do. Hate with reasoning well, I call it hate, but it's not really hate. If you want to say, "Oh, I'm dumb and stupid," if you just say that, I'm gonna be like, okay, I can say the same about you. But if you call me dumb and stupid and uneducated and give me reasons and inform me, that is what I call probably the good type of hate. I'm basically telling people to hate on me, but it's your opinion. If you're able to inform me and tell me, then yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna do my own research of what you tell me anyway. So you're not just gonna be able to tell me anything, and I'm gonna be like, oh, I believe that. I'm gonna fact check it. But anyways, yeah, this is what that province would look like. It would be, Lebanese people, Palestinians, Jews, blah blah blah. But they do get a part of the republic. The last, major thing that I don't want to do is, man. We're gonna go to the Balkans. We're gonna go to Serbia. Okay, Serbia has been preparing for a while in funding groups in Bosnia. I think, is Montenegro? Yeah. Yes. So, a Serbian revolt in Bosnia is set up in this area, and they line up on their borders. So, this is another kind of controversial thing. Once again, like I said, with Israel and Palestine, it's not real. This is what I think could happen. So we have Serbia going to war with Kosovo, and Bosnia and Albania joining. Now, as the second they attack, this would invoke Article 5. But NATO, since the Russian-Ukraine war, has made some new policies. If a country gets attacked and they are in NATO, a referendum can be held in the emergency meeting by the countries where they can decide yes or no if they want to join. So, with that, we have Hungary, Austria, Romania, Greece, Macedonia, and Ukraine's in NATO, and Ukraine and Poland joining. So, as you can imagine, Serbia's getting steamrolled. But they do have Russian support. No doubt about that. But it mostly gets intercepted through Crimea. So the Ukrainian a new Union Navy has been established through here, and as Russia tries to send through here, through this, they can't. They're gonna get stopped by the Ukrainians. I mean, they could here, but they get stopped by the Turkish too. So can't really work. They send planes. The planes are let through, but right after they drop, that stuff gets captured by NATO. So, we have a Bosnian civil war ensuing between native Serbians and the Bosnians. Now immediately, Austria and Hungary have decided to divertly help Bosnia, while Romania, Greece, Albania, North Macedonia, Kosovo, Poland, and Ukraine focus on Serbia. Serbia does get a little bit in a few of these countries, and even gets a little bit in on Romania, but of course does not last long, as this is all captured really quickly. This is captured really quickly. And then this is slowly captured and occupied. So, even though Serbia may have made some small advances, they are quickly pretty much demolished. Bosnia is able to push back many of the revolt. But Serbia's are like, yeah, we should stop. I don't know why we did this. So, whoops. We're gonna have the peace treaty being drawn. Okay. Here we have the peace treaty. Starting with Bosnia. Bosnia will get a lot of these kind of southwestern areas and stuff like that. Hungary will get a little bit of the northern area of Serbia. Romania will get some eastern parts. Montenegro will get a few pieces here. Kosovo will probably really get the most out of it and become another independent nation and stuff like that. But, so, this was episode 1 of Alternate Future of the World. Things mainly happened in Eastern Europe, Balkans, and the Middle East. Nowhere else. It was all basically in this. It's all basically in this kind of area right here. And that'll be all. I know this video is long. I don't expect anybody to watch it in one sitting, but you may, because it's an hour long. An hour isn't that much, but most of this isn't going to be edited, except for when I pause it, just so you know I can have you guys skip through. I'll be doing that more. I think that's how that works. Yeah, because the point from where I'm drawing the treaty and stuff like that, yeah, it'll bounce. Anyways, that is gonna be all for today's video. Sneak peek on probably the next episode if this does good. It'll probably be it'll probably relate more to the Middle East, but I may do some stuff with South America and Africa, but just know it'll probably mainly be in the Middle East. I don't have a script. I might write what I want to do for it. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Alright guys, that's it. That's all for today's video. Hope you're having a good day. Please listen to my disclaimers. I'm very serious about that. I'm serious about my research and stuff like that, and I am willing to learn more if you're just not gonna simply hate. But hating with purpose, that's different. If you can hate with purpose, I'm proud of you. Alright, and that's gonna be all for today's video. Oh yeah.